Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival, where we're celebrating our 32nd year. It gives me great pleasure to introduce all of our filmmakers throughout the week as we sit here and interview them in the media room at Yavapai College, where we're coming to you live. We also do YouTube Live. So you'll be able to follow all the filmmaker interviews, celebrity interviews on YouTube Live throughout the week. And also be sure to follow us on social media. Also throughout the festival, not only are we showcasing films, we have workshops. And through those workshops, they can range anything from writing, screenwriting, music composing. And now I'd like to introduce to you Addie Morefoot with Variety magazine, and your beat is documentaries,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So welcome to Sedona.
Thank you so much.
I know this is your first time here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah, great film festival too.
Awesome. Do you typically do film festivals throughout the country, or what do you cover?
So yeah, I do. I went to Sundance this year, usually every year. A lot of documentary film festivals I go to, like Full Frame, and then I'll go to Copenhagen next month for something called CPH Docs. So yeah, a lot of different festivals.
And how long have you been with Variety?
I started interning for them in 2005.
Oh my goodness.
So it's been on and off, but yes, over 20 years. Over 2026. But yeah, it's been on and off. But in the last 5 years, I've covered docs for them.
You know, it's funny, I was reading your bio and going through that, and when I saw how long that you actually have been in the industry writing for Variety, and this is a huge compliment to you, but I was going to say, when did you start? Like when you were 10?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. It was, I was right out of college when I started, when I interned for them. So yeah, it's crazy though that I say 20 years, but yeah.
Right. And tell me, what is it like working for a major publication like that?
I mean, it's great because you know you're going to get readers, you're going to reach a mass audience. So when you cover like smaller films or independently made films, you know that they're going to get the exposure that they want and need.
Yeah, and also, but it's not just Varieties. A lot of your stories have ended up on other publications.
Yeah, I write for other like IndieWire. I write for the New York Times. I've written, I feel like, for everyone. But yeah, the nice thing about Variety is it gets picked up. My stories get picked up. Sometimes by Yahoo News or IMDb News. So yeah, they travel.
And that's a great thing to have. I mean, everybody is always like looking for ways in order to either get their foot in the door or to get their stories out there.
Right.
So how difficult is it, because I know you were, and I want to talk about the workshop that you did as well, but how difficult is it for someone to get into a media like that, to get their stories told, written, or shown and showcased?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in the workshop. It depends, really. I mean, if you have a huge distributor behind you, it's not as hard. But independent films, you know, if they reach out and they have, I said, an elevator pitch that's compelling, and they, you know, personalize it in some way, and just tell me what their film's about, send a link, hopefully, send art, definitely has a chance of getting into Variety or whoever I'm writing it for.
Yeah, you know, it seems to be a little bit different now that there's AI, right? So there's a huge thing with people either applying for jobs using AI or AI screening people with jobs. So it's really difficult. And then also even people utilizing AI to write stories.
Right.
So it's this whole thing, right? So the industry is kind of changing a lot. So how do you encourage people to, especially like if it's a screenwriter, a filmmaker here, what would be like some of the advice that you would give them to get their film shown or written about?
Well, definitely don't use AI, because usually you can tell right off the bat if a email is from AI. I would look up the person that you're pitching, see what they're writing, see if there's anything that resonates with your film, like that have they written something that along the lines of something that you're around your film. Like I write about social issue docs a lot. So if you made a social issue doc, you should email me and be like, I read this piece that you wrote. I think you might be interested in my film. That kind of thing. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, no, it's dry here.
Dry. Interested in my film as well. So doing a little research always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being in the business for as long as you have, and writing the stories that you do, does it become rote for you, or do you try to do each story in a unique way to make sure that you tell that story?
Yeah, I mean, what I aim to do is make it interesting to myself, every story, or somebody, like my editor, tell a story. Even if it's, you're doing a Q&A with somebody, you want to make it as interesting as possible. You want to tell the reader a story about this film. And that's what I aim to do with all my pieces. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a trend piece or it's, like I said, a Q&A or just my opinion about the industry. You want to definitely tell a story, and I think that really intrigues people when you do.
And then how would you describe your writing style? I've had this asked to me one time. They said you have to have a certain style, which I don't really believe, but
how do you
have to have a style?
I think you have to have a voice.
Yes.
And the more, yes, I think I have a voice that I've worked on creating or, establishing for the last 20 years, And every year that goes by, you get more confident expressing that voice. And I think that's what sets you apart from other writers. So, because it's such a competitive business, journalism, and right now, especially with all the budget cuts. So the more you establish your voice, and I just think that sets you apart from the pack and also makes your stories a little bit more interesting as well.
Right. And as a writer and even a journalist, is there anybody that you have followed or admired in your career?
I'm jealous of many people. Yeah. I always say I'm jealous. There's Taffy Burdesser-Akner, who writes for the New York Times. She doesn't cover documentaries, but Anthony Kaufman covers documentaries. I was a fan of his before I even started at Variety. So many writers. But with both those examples, they both have really prominent voices, that are so distinct to them that nobody could replicate. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what really drew me to both of them and what I want to emulate.
Right. And tell me about documentaries. What is it that you like about writing about documentaries?
So I grew up watching documentaries with my mom. That's what we did every night. She loved them. I just, they say truth is stranger than fiction. I just enjoy them more than narrative films. So I've always been drawn to them. And when I started at Variety, there wasn't a documentary beat, but I would always pitch my editors. What about this documentary? And I just think that they are some of the most compelling stories out there that are being told via documentary. And I think that they deserve to be covered. And, I just think that, and also the audience for documentaries has grown significantly in the past 20 years. I think people understand how entertaining they can be, so.
And I think there's a huge, you're right about that. I think there's a huge difference. There's definitely the interest because people want to know the truth. Sometimes I wonder in a news organization, for example, last year we had a filmmaker who was blind, but she ran she did a marathon across country.
I wrote about this, yes.
Yes, she was amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just blown away by her, and I follow her on social media, and so something like that, and yes, you wrote about her. Sometimes I wonder, does news actually follow someone like, because that's a really interesting story that's
Yeah.
pleasant and we all want to know, instead of all the accidents and murders and
Right,
all the,
right,
it's like I'm
right.
tired of that already.
Yeah.
I want to know something good. And so
Yeah.
that's why I think even documentaries are so popular now, because
Yeah.
no matter what the issue is, but it's more in depth.
Yeah.
That you have the time, someone has the time to write about and research, and
Yeah.
the viewer has more time to absorb it all.
Yeah, I mean, like the rip from the headlines docs, that woman. I mean, that was covered, a lot of local news. But I love those kind of docs because, when you read an interesting story in the paper, you're like, I want to know more. And a lot of documentary filmmakers do that. They read these stories and they go in and they investigate, and like, there's some of the best documentaries, the rip from the headline ones. And luckily I know that there's murder. I say there's the streamers right now, like murder, what is it, sports, and cults. So we're getting a lot of that from the streamers, but there's still a lot of other docs out there that are very interesting.
So, writing about docs a lot, have you ever thought about doing your own or writing your own documentary?
I have actually. I wrote. There's a few books, nonfiction books that I think would be really great documentaries. But I mean, journalism is hard right now as a business, and making documentaries is maybe even harder. So I mean, I've considered it, but I don't know if it will come to fruition.
Is there anything in covering documentaries that surprises you, as far as like covering it or information that comes out of a documentary? Is it like the process, or like, for example, what surprised me this film festival is how long some of these documentaries have taken somebody, like 10 years and 5 years, and I'm like, I didn't even realize it took that long.
Yeah, I mean, they do take long. I think what I'm always surprised by is like right now with distribution, it's so hard to find distribution for most documentary filmmakers, and I just give them so much credit because they don't give up on their films. I mean, they say they're babies, but they really don't give up. Self-distribution is a real thing now that I think I used to say it wasn't viable, but I actually believe in self-distribution after I did this panel recently. It's a way that filmmakers can get their films to audiences. And I just give them so much credit for they keep going. Even when, like, after I met a filmmaker, they got into Toronto Film Festival, a huge film festival. It was the opening night. The film didn't sell, never sold, but that filmmaker didn't give up. And they got it out there. And so I just give the stamina, I just give them a lot of credit for.
Yeah. And then your workshop that you did, what was the title of the workshop?
I think it was how to get your film covered, basically, in the media.
And then what was, like, probably one of the most popular questions, would you say, that people were asking?
What to send in a pitch. And like I said, try to make it personal. I mean, I don't need you to, I love all your articles or anything like, but I read this article, I think that you might be interested in my film based on that. But yeah, that's another thing, like just getting their films out there, getting the press. It's all like a one-man show for a lot of these filmmakers, but they manage to do it. So, but the panel is really just about like getting the film out there and getting it seen, and how to use the press to help you do that.
Right. Well, Allie, thank you so much for being with us and for coming here to the film festival and hosting the workshop. It's such a pleasure to have you here and following your stories. It's been wonderful. So thank you even for covering the Sedona Film Festival as well.
Thank you so much. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And don't forget to stay with us and to watch all of our filmmaker interviews and celebrity interviews, red carpets, on YouTube, and we'll be follow us with social media on Sedona Film Fest, hashtag Sedona Film Fest as well. And we'll be back with more throughout the day with filmmaker interviews. Thank you.